Hello, and today we're going to start a new important lesson. We're going to revise the Egyptian souvenir for grade 4. Let's go. Chapter 1. One day there was a girl called Sally. She enjoys solving mysteries. Sally visited the Egyptian Museum with her class. Mr. Sanderson, the history teacher. Sally saw a beautiful beetle made of stone in the museum. It was like the one on her father's desk. The head teacher was angry. Why? Because Sally shouted in the museum. Sally's father accused her of playing in his study. Why do you always play in my study? The next day she went to school, but the history teacher didn't come. He was sick. So the supply teacher, Miss Sanderson, so who was Miss Sanderson? She was the supply teacher. She attended the session because Mr. Sanderson was ill. Miss Robertson asked the students to bring all the Egyptian objects the next day because they are going to have a special session without books. So let's have some questions. What does Sally enjoy? She enjoys solving mysteries. Why couldn't Sally ask for help? Because her best friend was visiting her grandma and Stephen thought the case was closed. Closed. Okay. Why did Sally decide to understand the case? She decided to write about everything. What did Sally visit with her class? She visited the Egyptian Museum, of course. Why did Sally see, or what did Sally see in the Pharaoh room? What did she see? She saw a beautiful beetle made of black stone that looked like her father's one. Who is Miss Robertson? She was the supply teacher. What did Miss Robertson ask the children to do? To bring the Egyptian objects next day. What did Sally see when they went home? She saw a black limousine parked outside her house. Let's go now to chapter 2. What? Let's summarize chapter 2. Sally brought her black beetle to school and they had an interesting session with Miss Robertson. Sally saw the black limousine in the town center. But this time, Miss Robertson was in the black limousine. Wow! Why was Miss Robertson in the black limousine? The next, then she couldn't find her beetle in the locker. Where did the beetle go? She went and asked Mr. Robertson, where was my beetle or where is my beetle? Miss Robertson saw the beetle and looked at it carefully the day before. But now she said, I can't remember any black beetle. Sally was too suspicious, started to shock, believed that there was a connection between Miss Robertson, the black limousine, and the beetle. Sally decided to start the investigation. And why? To solve the mystery of the black beetle. Here are some questions for you. What did Sally take with her to school? She took her black beetle. Why was Sally happy at the end of the session? She was happy because the teacher asked them to put the objects in the locker. They are going to look at it next day. What did Sally see when she went for a ride in the afternoon? She saw a black limousine again. Who went out of the black limousine? An elegant woman. Oh, she was Miss Robertson. What did Sally discover when she opened the locker? She couldn't find her black beetle, it disappeared. Why did Sally believe that Miss Robertson is lying? بتكذب. Because yesterday she picked my beetle and looked at it carefully. And now she says, I didn't see it. What did Sally decide to be? She decided to be Sally Holmes, a great detective. What was Sally's plan in the investigation? She decided to find the black limousine and then the owner of this black limousine. Now let's go to chapter 3. An important discovery. Sally woke up early and disguised يعني اتنكرت to begin the investigation. The limousine was parked in front of the Majestic Hotel, and Sally decided to follow them. Who came out of the black limousine? Two men and a woman. Two men and a woman. They went into Mr. Sanderson's house. Sally spoke to her brother, Stephen, to help her because she was afraid. يبقى why did she ask him? Because she was afraid. What did they see when they went to Mr. Sanderson's house? They saw that he was tied to a chair and he had a handkerchief in his mouth. Okay, very good. Stephen called the fire brigade. Why? To ask for help. Let's answer some questions. Where did Sally find the limousine? She found it in front of the Majestic Hotel. Where did the car stop at the first time? They stopped at a hardware shop. Where did the woman and the two men go finally? They went to Mr. Sanderson's house. Why couldn't Sally go near Mr. Sanderson's house? Because it was daytime and she didn't want anyone to see her. Why did Sally decide to go to Mr. Sanderson's house again? To find out who these people were. Why didn't Sally go to Mr. Sanderson's house alone? Because she was scared. What did Stephen tell his parents to go with Sally? He told them he's going to get a geography book from his friend. What did Sally and Stephen see in Mr. Sanderson's house? They saw that he was tied to a chair and there is a handkerchief in his mouth. How was he? He was pale and he didn't feel well. That's why they took him to the hospital. The paramedic took him to the hospital. What did Stephen call? He called the fire brigade. Stephen didn't tell the truth to the fire brigade. Why? He told them that his sister was locked in the house and she couldn't get the door open. Now, in the last chapter, so the fire brigade arrived to Mr. Sanderson's house and Stephen told them the whole story. The firemen set Mr. Sanderson free. Sally's parents were angry. Why? Because they saw Stephen's photo on the front page of the newspaper. The police arrested Miss Robertson and the two men at the Majestic Hotel. The police found a papyrus from the National Museum in Cairo in a room at the Majestic Hotel. Sally was angry. Why? Because everyone was talking about Stephen as a hero, and she discovered the mystery by herself. Sally believed that the beetle was the key to the mystery. Her beetle was the key to the mystery. How did the firemen rescue Mr. Sanderson? They broke the window and went in and set him free. يعني خلوه free. How was Mr. Sanderson when the police arrived? He was very pale, كان وشه أصفر, and he didn't feel very well. How did Sally's parents know the whole story? They saw that Stephen photo on the front page on the newspaper. How was Stephen described in the newspaper? He was described as a courageous 17-year-old boy. ولد 17 سنة شجاع جدا who saved a teacher from his school. Where did the police arrest the criminals? At the Majestic Hotel.
Hotel.
What did they find? They found a papyrus from the National Museum in Cairo in a room at the Majestic Hotel. Why was Sally angry? Because the newspaper wrote about Stephen, not her. What did Sally see on the notice board? They saw a copy of the newspaper article. And that's the end of our story. Thank you so much, and bye bye.